In 1922, Soichiro Honda, a 15-year-old boy from Tokyo, Japan, started working at a small auto repair shop. Initially assigned to clean the workshop, he quickly became a multi-billion-dollar brand owner and competitor with major car brands. This is Honda's story. In 1906, Geihei Honda and his wife welcomed their first son, Soichiro, into a poverty-ridden village called Tenryu, Shizuoka. Soichiro's father was a blacksmith and his mother was an accomplished weaver. Soichiro lost 5 of his siblings due to health issues. At 8 years old, he heard a strange rumble and saw a Ford Model T. This experience changed his life, as he became fascinated with machines and learned to wet farm machinery blades and repair bicycles. Soichiro disliked school and spent most of his childhood helping his father with his bicycle repair business. His lack of interest in school affected his grades, so he used rubber to forge his family stamp on his grade reports. He eventually got caught and punished by kneeling on his knees for an entire day without lunch. In 1922, Soichiro found a magazine ad for a Tokyo-based automobile servicing company called Art Shokai. He believed that the company might be in need of new workers and wrote a letter to inquire about a job. A positive reply was received, and at the age of 15, Soichiro dropped out of school and left home to pursue dreams in Tokyo. Soichiro arrived in Tokyo and found the city life to be faster and different from his village. He was assigned to babysit the owner's child, but found that he wasn't making any money and was only assigned to carry a baby wrapped around his back. This made him feel ashamed of returning home as a failure and facing his parents. As the owner couldn't keep up with the high demand of his automobile business, Soichiro was pulled in to help him out. Soichiro gradually climbed the ladder to become a trusted mechanic at the company, teaching him not only mechanical repairs but also the business side of the company. He became familiar with a wide range of automobiles, including Lincoln's, Mercedes, Cadillacs, and various motorcycles. Through the company, Soichiro was introduced to the world of motorsports, which were gaining popularity around Europe, America, and Japan. In 1923, Soichiro and his workers began building racing cars, including the Art Daimler and the Curtiss. The Art Daimler was built using a second-hand Daimler engine, while the Curtiss was made using another second-hand engine from an American Curtiss pipeline placed on the chassis and another American car. In 1926, Soichiro was drafted for military service but failed to pass medical exams due to being colorblind. He was excused from the army and continued working at Aichokai. By 1928, Yuzo Sakakibara wanted to expand his business and open his branch in Hamamatsu. At 21, Soichiro was called upon to run the new branch. Despite initial struggles, Soichiro managed to grow his business from a one-man operation to a staff of 30 people. His racing skills helped him stand out from his peers as he built the Hamamatsu race car, setting a new speed record of 120 kilometers per hour. However, racing at the time was far more dangerous than it is today. In 1936, Honda was involved in a serious crash while racing the Hamamatsu in Tokyo. Almost dying, Soichiro's left arm was fractured, his shoulder was dislocated, and his face was damaged. After several arguments with his family, Soichiro never raced again. By 1936, Honda became tired and weary of his repair work and planned to move on to manufacturing car parts. He proposed turning the Art Shokai Hamamatsu branch into a separate company, but shareholders disagreed. Investors saw that the current orders and workload from the repair shop were bringing in enough profit, so Soichiro decided to open his own company to manufacture piston rings and founded Tokai Seiki Heavy Industry. He made Shichiro Kato the president of his company. Soichiro and Kato founded the Art Piston Ring Research Center, working tirelessly to create a successful piston ring. Soichiro worked at his Hamamatsu branch, losing weight and causing emaciation. After several failures, Soichiro decided to enroll as a part-time student at the Hamamatsu Industrial Institute to improve his knowledge of metallurgy. In 1939, he created a successful piston and quit his job at Aichokai. Toyota commissioned Soichiro to create pistons for the company, but his creations were still flawed. Soichiro traveled around Japan, visiting steel-making companies and universities to improve his knowledge. His new piston passed quality control and the company began to receive orders from all over the country. However, Japan joined the Pacific War in 1941, placing Soichiro's company under direct control of the Ministry of Munitions. Toyota took over 45% of the company's equity, and Soichiro was downgraded from president to senior managing director. The company struggled as many male employees resigned from military service, and Soichiro tried to keep the company afloat. In 1944, air raid sirens intensified in Japan, and Hamamatsu was in great danger. A direct bomb blast destroyed the factory, and the Iwata plant collapsed in January 1945. Japan surrendered in August 1945, but Soichiro had nearly lost everything. After the war, Soichiro sold his company to Toyota for 450,000 yen and publicly announced his intention to take time off to figure out the future. After the war, Japan faced an economic meltdown with low supply of food, clothes, and resources. Soichiro discovered a generator engine used by the Japanese Imperial Army to power a wireless radio. He was fascinated by the engine and decided to attach it to a bicycle. This idea was not new, but he knew the country needed cheap transportation. In 1946, Soichiro established the Honda Technical Research Institute to develop motorbikes. He and his team successfully assembled a motorbike using found engines and spare parts. The bicycle became a hit and orders began to come from various parts of Japan. Soichiro decided to design and develop his own engine, the Taipei engine, in 1947, marking the first time the Honda name was put on a machine. In 1948, Soichiro founded Honda Motor Company, with the goal of building motorcycles to help Japanese workers move around. However, he needed more money to expand production, so he wrote an open letter to bicycle shop owners in Japan, receiving positive responses from 3,000. The company produced its first complete motorcycle, the Model D, but was disappointed with its size and weight. After 3 years of trial and error, Soichiro built the Super Club, a smaller and lighter motorcycle that won the Emperor's Prize. Honda joined forces with the investor Taikyo Fujisawa, providing capital, financial, and marketing strategies. The Super Cub reached the United States in 1958 at a price of $295, a quarter of the price of other American motorcycles. Honda's marketing and engineering skills helped it outsell Triumph and Harley-Davidson in their respective home. By the 1960s, Honda had become the world's largest motorcycle company, producing 10 million motorcycles by 1968. However, Soichiro had another big dream, entering the car industry. He traveled the world to study and examine competitors, aiming to surpass their benchmarks and become the world's largest motorcycle company. Soichiro Honda faced criticism for entering the automobile market, but he refused. Honda debuted its first automobile in 1963 with the T360 mini truck, a two-door roadster with a 4-speed transmission. Honda also entered the racing world with the RA271 and an RA272, but struggled to beat competitors. In 1972, Honda introduced the Civic, which became one of the most popular cars worldwide. Honda became the third largest car producer in Japan and the third largest company globally. Honda retired in 1973 and died in 1991. Did you learn anything new in the story? If so, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But for now, see you in the next video.